All right, welcome back to Hannity. National Review is taking on Donald Trump. The publication has put out an entire issue called Against Trump, and it features articles and essays from some writers and talk show hosts. In it, they argue that Trump should not be the Republican nominee. Well, last night, the editor of National Review, Rich Lowry, explained why he and some others are trying to stop Trump. Watch this.
The point we're making, it's up to conservatives who think that Donald Trump, whatever his virtues are, doesn't truly understand the ideas and principles that make this country great. It's up to those conservatives to stand up and say, no, sorry, we oppose this. If you truly are conservative, you believe in ideas and principles. It's not just attitudes. It's not just who you dislike. It's limited government. It's the Constitution, it's liberty. Those are the things that truly make this country special, and they are basically afterthoughts to Donald Trump.
All right, naturally, Donald Trump, predictably, he fired back. Take a look.
The National Review is a dying paper. Its circulation's way down. Not very many people read it anymore. I mean, people don't even think about the National Review, so I guess they want to get a little publicity, but no, that's a dying paper.
Now, Trump also took to Twitter to respond, writing, quote, "The late, great William F. Buckley would be ashamed of what has happened to his prize, the dying National Review." Here with reaction from the Washington Times, Charles Hurt, and Democratic strategist, great buddy with Barack Obama, his best friend, former economic advisor to him, who gave us this economic disaster, Austin Goolsbee. Sorry, Austin, I'm kidding. How are you, my friend?
There was no depression. We won.
You know, let's start with this. Let's go back, Charles, to National Review, December 2011. A guy by the name of Newt Gingrich was in the race, and they actually wrote about Gingrich. Gingrich is not the only candidate whom we believe conservatives should, regretfully, exclude from consideration of the presidency. Governor Rick Perry has done an exemplary job in Texas, but seemed curiously and persistently unable to bring gravity to the national stage. So they said that about Newt Gingrich, the guy who brought Republicans back to power after being in isolation, out of power for 40 years. They said it about probably the most successful governor in the last decade, Governor Rick Perry. So I'm not sure how to take it. Your reaction?
Well, and also, you know, I think it's also interesting to look back at 2012 when these very same people endorsed Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney was somebody who had flip-flopped on all of the most important issues that Republicans hold most dear, on abortion, national health care, taxes. You know, Mitt Romney had even disparaged Reagan at one point. And these very same people, they not only did they not see fit to chase him out of the race, but they ultimately endorsed him. And so I think that, you know, things like this start to sort of strain your credibility.
That's a great point. In other words, one of the big criticisms, which I actually thought was unfair about Mitt Romney, was that he was a flip-flopper. I think Mitt Romney would have been a great president, far better than the anointed one, Austin's buddy there, Barack Obama. I love doing this to you, Austin. It's not personal. All right, let me ask you,
I
Austin.
won the bet, and you had to pay. You had to take me to dinner.
I took you and your wife to dinner, and your wife was not included in the original bet. I paid double.
It was delicious.
It was
delicious.
All right, here's my question for you. You have a very unique perspective. You told me 8 months ago, don't underestimate Ted Cruz. You know Ted Cruz.
Right.
You've debated Ted Cruz. You were once the national debate champion, and he was the national debate champion as well from Harvard. You think Ted Cruz has been underestimated from the beginning?
Yeah, I do. I think, first of all, you know, not to play into your mindset too much, but as a Democrat, I'm loving this. I'm loving that you got the National Review setting its sights on Trump. You got other parts of the establishment going after Cruz, and they're going after each other. Whatever takes the focus off, let's hope we don't get into a civil war within the Democratic Party.
Oh, you already have that going
Republicans, on. And I'm nervous about that.
Yeah, I bet you are.
The two things I will say is, one, I think the Democrats underestimate Cruz. I think there's a building idea among the Democratic strategists that Trump might reshuffle the deck in a way they don't understand, so they'd like to get Cruz because he's more traditionally somebody they could go after, and I think that's a little dangerous. But the second is, I think Trump is, in a way, perhaps committing the same thing that happened to Romney. You remember when Romney ran against first Kaine, then Santorum, then Gingrich, he went to each primary, and right before the primary, he would dump loads of money on them and outspend them by a great amount and beat them. And he kind of learned that as his move, but when you got to the general, you couldn't really do that because Obama had as much money as he had. I think what Trump has done is drown these people with more media attention. So when he runs this attack ad on Cruz, he's gotten free media. They've played his ad over and over all day.
All right, but
when it comes to the general, I don't think he'll be able to do that.
Let me challenge you loving this intramural battle, which is going to happen in any primary. And let me remind you, Austin, that the woman that was supposed to walk into this nomination is now down 27 points in one poll in New Hampshire and is losing to the curmudgeon 73-year-old cranky socialist in Iowa.
It's not good.
And she might get indicted. And by the way, did I mention the Inspector General of the intelligence community? That's not good either.
Now you're back on that again.
Yeah, the guy that was appointed by Obama.
Look, as you know, Bernie Sanders is not my preferred candidate. I'm for Hillary Clinton. I agree. She's, you know,
maybe you can help her stay out of jail.
Trying to build a movement. He's trying to build a movement-style thing, and that does play well in Iowa. So the Democrats have got their own problems for sure.
Not the least of which, Charles, is that Inspector General report. Mike Mukasey in the Wall Street Journal laid out a devastating case for indictment of her. This could be the wildest election year we've ever seen in our lives.
Oh, absolutely. And quite frankly, you know, I've sort of wondered about the timing of this national review thing. Why now, 6 months, more than 6 months after Donald Trump has clearly demonstrated that he is going to be a major actor in the primary? Why are they now coming out with this? Well, I think the reason that they're coming out with it right now is because it's the first time that they've begun to realize that not only is Donald Trump very likely poised to win the Republican nomination now, he's in a very good position to win the Republican nomination and then win the White House as a Republican. And that scares the absolute
Well, here's my question. But they didn't endorse Ted Cruz either. And yet, you know, between the two of them, they've got well over almost 60% of the vote.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how effective any of this is going to be.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't think it's going to do anything to hurt Donald Trump. But I think one of the problems is you go out and you endorse Ted Cruz. I don't think it's going to help Ed Cruz either.
All right, Austin, if Hillary does get indicted, are you going to visit her and bring her a cake with a file in it?
I'm just nervous that if Ted Cruz wins and becomes the president, he's going to come back and try to pay me back for all the times I beat him in debate. So I'm
you mean as a
batten down the hatches.
So you were a senior and you were beating up on a lower classman. I understand, and you're proud of that.
It was good fun, though.
All right. Thank you both. Good to see you.
You bet.